Every single night while you're asleep, your liver is supposed to be doing something extraordinary. It's supposed to be clearing toxins, metabolizing fat, regenerating damaged cells, and preparing your body for the next day. But for 30 million Americans over the age of 50, that's not happening. Instead, their liver is drowning in fat, suffocating under a layer of accumulated triglycerides, slowly losing function night after night. And the truly terrifying part, most of them have absolutely no idea. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, that's the clinical term, affects 1 in 3 adults over 50. Not heavy drinkers, not people with obvious lifestyle problems, just ordinary people who thought they were doing everything right. And here's what nobody tells you. Your liver can lose up to 75% of its function before you feel a single symptom. No pain, no warning, just silent, progressive damage that announces itself only when it's almost too late. The system makes money when you stay sick, not when you get better. Subscribe to Dr. Waterling right now and hit that like button. We're building this channel on one principle, giving you the information that should be standard in every doctor's office, but almost never is. Every subscriber moves us closer to that goal. I need to be direct with you about what's happening inside your body right now if you have fatty liver disease. Your liver weighs approximately 5 kilograms, roughly 3 pounds. It's the largest internal organ you have, and it performs over 500 distinct biochemical functions. When fat begins accumulating in liver cells, those cells start malfunctioning. They become insulin resistant first, meaning they can't properly regulate blood sugar. Then they become inflamed. That inflammation, if it continues for years, turns into fibrosis, which is scar tissue formation. And if fibrosis progresses unchecked, it becomes cirrhosis, which is irreversible liver failure. Let me explain exactly what's happening at the cellular level. Your liver cells, called hepatocytes, are designed to process small amounts of fat as part of normal metabolism. But when you consume excess sugar, particularly fructose, your liver converts that sugar directly into fat through a process called de novo lipogenesis. That's Latin for making new fat. This newly created fat gets stored inside the hepatocytes themselves. Imagine a factory worker trying to do their job while standing waist deep in oil. That's your liver cells trying to function while packed with triglycerides. Here's the physics of what happens next. As those cells fill with fat, they swell. A swollen cell can't receive nutrients properly. It can't eliminate waste effectively. And it starts sending out distress signals in the form of inflammatory molecules called cytokines. Those cytokines attract immune cells that were designed to fight infection. But there's no infection here, just damaged cells. So your immune system starts attacking your own liver tissue. That's the inflammation stage, and it's the point where reversibility becomes time sensitive. In medicine, we call this NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Steato means fat, hepat means liver, itis means inflammation. This is not a minor inconvenience. Research published in the Journal of Hepatology confirms that NASH increases your risk of liver cancer by a factor of 7 compared to someone with a healthy liver. It increases cardiovascular disease risk by 250%. And if chronic inflammation runs for more than 10 years without intervention, the probability of progression to cirrhosis exceeds 40%. Now, how did this happen? You didn't drink excessively. You don't use drugs. You thought you were eating reasonably well. Here's what the system will never tell you clearly. The primary driver of fatty liver disease in non-drinkers is not dietary fat. It's sugar. Specifically, it's the combination of refined carbohydrates and fructose that modern processed foods deliver in quantities your liver was never designed to handle. A single can of soda contains 39 grams of sugar, mostly high fructose corn syrup. Your liver can process approximately 25 grams of fructose per day without creating excess fat. Everything beyond that gets converted directly into triglycerides and stored in your liver cells. But here's where it gets even more insidious. The system taught you that eating frequent small meals keeps your metabolism active. That's the conventional wisdom, isn't it? Eat every 3 hours. Never let yourself get hungry. Keep that blood sugar stable. I'm going to tell you why that advice for someone with fatty liver is metabolically catastrophic. Every time you eat, your insulin levels rise. Insulin is a storage hormone. It tells your body to store energy, not burn it. When insulin is elevated, your liver cannot access its own fat stores for fuel. It cannot perform the cellular cleaning process called autophagy that removes damaged components. It stays locked in storage mode, accumulating more fat with every meal, never getting the insulin-free window it needs to burn that fat away. Here's what happens when you go see a doctor with elevated liver enzymes. They run a blood test. Your ALT and AST levels come back high, indicating liver inflammation. The doctor says lose some weight, cut back on alcohol, and we'll recheck in 6 months. That's the conversation. No explanation of mechanism, no specific protocol, no mention of the fact that you have maybe 3 to 5 years before inflammation becomes fibrosis, and fibrosis becomes something you cannot reverse. The healthcare industry is not built to keep you healthy. It is built to treat you when you get sick. There is no billing code for teaching you how sugar metabolism works. There is no revenue in explaining that your liver can completely regenerate if you give it the right conditions. Your next appointment will not include what I'm about to tell you because there is no pharmaceutical profit in a $2 spice that costs almost nothing and works while you sleep. Now let me introduce you to something that 15 years of clinical practice taught me to respect deeply. Turmeric, not the pills, not the extracts with inflated marketing claims, just the ground spice you can buy in any grocery store for approximately $2. The active compound in turmeric is called curcumin, and it is one of the most thoroughly researched natural anti-inflammatory and hepatoprotective substances in medical literature. More than 3,000 published studies have examined its effects on liver function, inflammation, and fat metabolism. Here is exactly how this works at the cellular level. When curcumin enters your bloodstream and reaches your liver, it activates a protein called AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. Think of AMPK as your metabolism's master switch. When it's activated, it tells your cells to stop storing energy and start burning it. It enhances your liver's ability to oxidize fatty acids, meaning it breaks down the stored triglycerides in your hepatocytes and converts them into energy. This is not speculation. This is documented cellular biochemistry confirmed by research published in the European Journal of Nutrition. But curcumin does something even more important. It reduces the production of those inflammatory cytokines I mentioned earlier. Specifically, it inhibits a molecule called NF-kappa B, which is the master regulator of inflammatory response. When NF-kappa B is overactive, your immune system stays in attack mode, continuously damaging liver tissue. Curcumin acts like a circuit breaker, shutting down excessive inflammation while allowing normal immune function to continue. A study published in BMC Gastroenterology followed patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease who consumed curcumin supplements for 8 weeks. The results showed an average reduction in liver fat content of 78% measured by ultrasound imaging. ALT levels, the enzyme indicating liver inflammation, dropped by an average of 42 units. Now let me tell you about a patient I'll call Robert. He was 64 years old when he came to my office. His primary care physician had found elevated liver enzymes during routine blood work. ALT was 89, AST was 76. Normal range is below 40 for both. An ultrasound confirmed moderate fatty liver disease. Robert was not overweight by much, maybe 10 kilograms over ideal. He didn't drink alcohol, he walked daily, and he was genuinely confused about why his liver was failing him. When I asked about his diet, the picture became clear. Breakfast was orange juice and cereal. Mid-morning snack was fruit and a granola bar. Lunch included bread, often a sandwich. Afternoon snack was crackers or pretzels. Dinner was reasonable, lean protein and vegetables, but followed by dessert 3 or 4 nights a week. Every single one of those meals and snacks was spiking his insulin, locking his liver in storage mode, preventing any fat burning from occurring. He was eating what he thought was healthy food, and it was systematically destroying his liver. I gave Robert a very specific protocol. Stop eating between meals completely. No snacks. 3 meals per day with at least 5 hours between them. Eliminate all liquid sugar. That means juice, soda, sweetened coffee drinks. Reduce refined carbohydrates dramatically, which means bread, pasta, rice, and processed foods had to become occasional rather than daily. And every single night before bed, consume a specific turmeric drink I'm about to describe to you. Within 6 weeks, Robert's ALT dropped to 52. Within 4 months, it was 38, completely normal. The follow-up ultrasound at 6 months showed resolution of fatty infiltration. His liver had cleaned itself, regenerated the damaged cells, and returned to normal function. This is not miraculous. This is giving your body the conditions it needs to do what it was designed to do. Now the practical section, how to prepare the turmeric drink that supports liver regeneration while you sleep. You need ground turmeric, approximately 1 teaspoon, which is 5 grams. You need black pepper, just a small pinch, about 1/8 of a teaspoon. The black pepper contains piperine, which increases curcumin absorption by 2000%. Without it, most of the curcumin passes through your system unused. You need 1 cup of warm water, not boiling, approximately 70 degrees Celsius. And optionally, you can add half a teaspoon of raw honey if you need slight sweetness. Here's how you make it. Put the turmeric and black pepper into a mug. Add a tablespoon of the warm water and stir vigorously until you create a paste with no lumps. This step is critical because turmeric doesn't dissolve in water, it suspends, and creating the paste first prevents clumping. Then add the remaining water slowly while stirring. Add honey if desired. Drink this 30 to 45 minutes before sleep. Why before sleep? Because your liver does its deepest regenerative work between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. according to circadian biology. That's when growth hormone peaks, when cellular repair processes are most active, when autophagy reaches maximum intensity. By consuming curcumin before bed, you ensure peak blood levels coincide with peak liver regeneration time. You're giving your liver the anti-inflammatory and fat metabolizing support exactly when it needs it most. But the drink alone is not enough. I need you to hear this clearly. You cannot out-supplement a terrible diet. If you drink turmeric every night but continue eating sugar every 3 hours, you will not reverse fatty liver disease. The intervention requires both elements, removing what's damaging your liver and adding what supports its healing. Here is your complete protocol, organized by time of day. Morning, when you wake, drink 500 milliliters of plain water before consuming anything else. This rehydrates your system after the overnight fast and prepares your digestive tract. Wait 30 minutes, then eat your first meal. That meal should contain protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Examples include eggs with avocado and vegetables, or plain yogurt with nuts and berries. No juice, no cereal, no toast. Those are concentrated sugar delivery systems. Afternoon, 5 to 6 hours after breakfast, eat your second meal. Again, emphasize protein, healthy fats, and vegetables. A large salad with grilled chicken or fish. A vegetable stir-fry with tofu or meat. A bowl of vegetable soup with beans. The common element is minimizing refined carbohydrates and eliminating added sugar. Evening, your final meal of the day, should come 5 to 6 hours after lunch, which typically places it between 6 and 8 p.m. for most people. Similar composition, protein, vegetables, healthy fats. After this meal, you enter your overnight fast, which should last 12 to 14 hours before breakfast the next morning. 30 to 45 minutes before sleep, prepare and drink your turmeric mixture. Then go to bed at a consistent time, ideally before 11 p.m., to align with natural circadian rhythms that optimize liver regeneration. What about alcohol? If you have fatty liver disease, alcohol consumption must stop completely until liver function normalizes. Even moderate drinking, 2 or 3 glasses of wine per week, prevents healing. The liver cannot simultaneously process alcohol and repair fat damaged cells. Those are competing metabolic priorities, and alcohol always wins because your body treats it as a toxin requiring immediate elimination. What about exercise? Movement helps, but not in the way most people think. You don't need intense cardio. You need consistent daily movement that enhances insulin sensitivity. A 30-minute walk after dinner is more valuable than an hour at the gym twice a week. The post-meal walk lowers the blood sugar spike from your meal, reducing the insulin response, which gives your liver a longer longer fat-burning window overnight. Now, expected timeline for results. Within the first week, many people notice improved sleep quality and reduced morning fatigue. This reflects reduced inflammatory burden as curcumin begins modulating cytokine production. Within 2 to 3 weeks, digestive function often improves. Less bloating, more regular bowel movements, reduced reflux. This indicates that liver function is improving because your liver produces bile, which is essential for fat digestion. Within 4 to 6 weeks, if you get follow-up blood work, you should see measurable reduction in ALT and AST levels. A drop of 20 to 30% is typical. Within 3 to 4 months of consistent adherence to this complete protocol, ultrasound imaging typically shows measurable reduction in liver fat content. Complete normalization can take 6 to 12 months depending on initial severity, but improvement begins much sooner. Here's what you need to know about potential obstacles. Some people experience mild digestive upset when they first start consuming turmeric, particularly if they take it on an empty stomach. If this happens, consume it with a small amount of food, perhaps a few nuts or a spoonful of yogurt. The effect typically resolves within a few days as your system adapts. Turmeric can have mild blood thinning effects. If you are currently taking warfarin, aspirin, or other anticoagulant medications, discuss this protocol with your prescribing physician. The combination may require dosage adjustment. Never discontinue prescribed medications without medical supervision. If you have a history of gallstones or bile duct obstruction, curcumin can stimulate bile production, which might trigger symptoms. In that case, you need individualized medical guidance before implementing this protocol. Know these signs that should send you straight to a physician, not to a video. Yellowing of the skin or whites of the eyes, that's jaundice, indicating severe liver dysfunction. Dark urine that looks like cola combined with pale clay-colored stools, indicating bile flow obstruction. Persistent pain in the upper right abdomen, especially if accompanied by fever. Sudden swelling of the abdomen or legs without other explanation. Any of those symptoms require immediate professional evaluation. What I am describing works for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in people without advanced cirrhosis or acute liver failure. It does not replace emergency medical care. It does not substitute for necessary pharmaceutical intervention in advanced disease. It is an evidence-based protocol for reversing early to moderate fatty liver through metabolic correction and targeted nutritional support. How old are you? Write it in the comments. I want to see which age group makes up the majority of our viewers because it will directly shape what I cover in future videos. Let me address the question I know you're thinking. Why doesn't every doctor tell patients to do this? The answer is time, training, and systemic structure. A typical primary care visit lasts 12 to 15 minutes. In that time, the physician must review your history, address your presenting complaint, examine you, update your chart, and provide recommendations. There is no time for detailed nutritional biochemistry education. There is no billing code for teaching you how insulin resistance develops or why meal timing matters for liver regeneration. Medical school provides minimal nutrition education. Most physicians receive perhaps 20 hours of nutrition training across 4 years of medical school. Compare that to 200 hours of pharmacology. The system trains doctors to prescribe medications for diseases, not to teach patients how to reverse metabolic dysfunction through lifestyle modification. That's not a criticism of individual physicians. That's an observation about how the healthcare system is structured. And fundamentally, there is no profit motive in teaching you to fix fatty liver with a $2 spice and meal timing adjustments. The pharmaceutical approach is developing expensive medications that manage the condition. Those medications will be patented, marketed, and prescribed for the rest of your life at considerable cost. A truly effective intervention that costs almost nothing and requires no ongoing medical supervision does not generate revenue for the healthcare industry. That is why this information exists in published medical literature, but almost never reaches patients as actionable protocol. The research is there, the evidence is solid, but there is no commercial incentive to disseminate it widely or package it into patient-friendly recommendations. You are not helpless in front of your own biology. Your liver is not your enemy. me, it is an organ with extraordinary regenerative capacity that responds to the conditions you create through your daily choices. Fatty liver disease develops because those conditions, frequent eating, excessive sugar, inflammatory diet, have been wrong for years, but it reverses when you correct those conditions with the right information and consistent application. The turmeric drink I've described supports that reversal by reducing inflammation and enhancing fat metabolism during your liver's peak regeneration window. The meal timing creates the insulin-free periods your liver needs to access its own fat stores and burn them for fuel. The elimination of refined carbohydrates and added sugars stops the influx of substrate that was creating new fat deposits faster than your liver could clear old ones. This is not alternative medicine. This is applied biochemistry based on how your liver actually functions at the cellular level. The only thing it requires is understanding and discipline. Understanding you now have. Discipline is your choice. Subscribe to Dr. Waterling right now if this video gave you information you can actually use. Hit that like button. We are building this channel to reach people who need real solutions, not pharmaceutical dependence. Every subscriber, every like, every comment moves us closer to that goal. If this video helped you, send it to someone you care about, a parent, a friend, someone who might be walking around right now with elevated liver enzymes and no clear path forward. You may have just given them a real chance to reverse damage before it becomes permanent. Your liver can forgive a great deal if you act in time. The window between manageable fatty infiltration and irreversible cirrhosis is measured in years, not decades. Where you are in that window, only you and your physician can determine through proper testing. But wherever you are, movement toward reversal begins with correcting the metabolic conditions that created the problem and supporting regeneration with targeted interventions like curcumin that enhance your liver's own healing capacity. This is serious but solvable. Your body is not broken. Your liver knows how to heal itself when you remove the obstacles and provide the support. Starting tonight, 30 to 45 minutes before sleep, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, warm water. While you sleep, let your liver do what it was designed to do.